morning. A glutton for punishment, I would say. Gentlemen, a great race yesterday. The conditions went a little awry, a late race caution. Lawson Aschenbach doing a fantastic job. The finish of the race finishes the season just like he started the season. A win, he had a championship, and now kicked off 2018 in fine fashion. A great race. Looking forward to another good one today.
It is, and starting from P1 today, thank you, Michael Young, as we're getting our pre-race festivities set up for race number 2 for our GTS and GTSA category. And we talk about that jacket that Jeremy Shaw needs. He's from England. He doesn't need a jacket. This is a summer day. He's ready to go swimming right now. This is go out and get some suntan and ready to go, right, Jeremy?
Hey, there's a plan. Great idea. Good morning, everybody. Great to be here. Much more... much happier this morning with several degrees warmer. Much happier. Big smile this morning. Sun's shining. Ready for a couple of tremendous Pirelli World Challenge GT races today. The first one will have 27 cars on 27. I was hoping we were going to have 28 because I can see that is Fred Roberts' car at the back of the field, isn't it? So he is does appear to be out here this afternoon. He missed yesterday's race because they're unable quite to get that JCR Maserati finished, having had a drive shaft problem in qualifying yesterday morning. But it looks like he is on the back of the field for the start of this race.
Yeah, a lot of cars and a lot of teams here in that GTS race yesterday having incidents and problems. Frank Gannett and his Ginetta G5 from Ian Lacey Racing had a problem where they got parts from Miami, and 6 a.m. this morning they were able to get that car completed. Worked all night on that machine. George Kurtz, your defending GTSA champion, had a brush with the wall with, unfortunately, 2 minutes to go in the race. That tire went down on the left rear. Unfortunately, he was unable to continue in that race. But just want to welcome everybody to world-challenge.com, watching our global live stream. We're here at St. Petersburg Grand Prix down on the start straight here. About 30 seconds to go here to our command to start engines and try to get underway for a 50-minute sprint race here in our GTS.
Still trying to work out which car isn't on the grid. We were expecting 28 cars, but I can only see, I think, 27 on the starting lineup, unless they're out of sync somehow. But we've got a really good field of cars, and I will run down those runners and riders.
The most famous command in motorsports, the Chief Security Officer of Amazon Web Services, C.J. Moses.
Drivers, start your engines!
Well, C.J. Moses giving our command for us. Thank you, Ryan Marine, down there on the front stretch here at St. Petersburg, which is actually runway number 7 at Albert Whitted Airport here in St. Petersburg, Florida. Jeremy Shaw, myself, Jeff Lepper, joining you here on our worldwide web stream at world-challenge.com. We are watching the race here from our broadcast booth, perched atop the grandstands on the front stretch here behind pit lane. It's a brisk, about 57 degrees out here. A little slight breeze, not as bad as it's been before, but track is green. It rained overnight, so some of that rubber got washed out, but we did have a few other support series races this morning, kind of maybe wash the track off a little bit, put some rubber down.
Yeah, no, the only activity this morning was the IndyCar warm-up that's just been completed. So, but really good track conditions. We do have 28 cars on the grid. They were slightly staggered offset there on the grid. So let's run down the starting line. Starting at the back, car number 89, Fred Roberts, that's a Maserati. Car number 43, Steve Burns, is a Ginetta. On the 13th row of the grid, Frank Gannett in car number 24, another Ginetta G55. And Chris Omat in car number 92, a BMW M4 GT4. Gar Robinson, car number 74, it's a Mercedes GT4, and Adam Merzen in the Audi, car number 23, will share row 12. On row 11, James Pezic in number 40 PF Racing Ford Mustang, and Mark Clennin, number 62, that is a McLaren. Row 10 of the grid, Justin Raphael, number 17 BMW, and Ori Fidani, number 13 Porsche. Row 9, Preston Calvert on the outside, car number 51, that's the Panos Avezzano GT, and Jason Bell from Tampa, Florida, in an Audi, car number 2. Row 8, Harry Gottsack on the outside, car number 69, in a
Sin R1
Sin
GT4.
R1, thank you very much indeed, Jeff. Put you on the spot there.
No worries.
And Nate Stacey, he drove a Ginetta last year, that's why I was confused. Nate Stacey in the number 52 Ford Mustang. Row 7 of the grid, Marko Radizic, locally based here in just over the Skyway Bridge. Car number 22 of BMW, number 99 Maserati of Jeff Courtney. Row 6, Tony Gaples, number 11 Chevrolet, number 45 Mike Headland in an Audi. Car number 72 Shane Lewis in a Mercedes, and George Kurtz as a 04 Audi will share row 5. Toby Grahovic in number 26 BMW, Drew Stavely, number 12 Ginetta on row 4, Vinny Allegretto in a Ford, and teammate Jay Buford in car number 55, 10 and 55 on row 3. Ian James, car number 50, a Paynos on the outside of row 2, James Sophonis, and Audi, car number 14, on the inside of row 2, and on the front row, Gabriele Piana, car number 21, and Lawson Aschenbach, our race winner yesterday in a number 1 Chevrolet Camaro GT4.
And green flag as they come down the straight here, Lawson Aschenbach, and it is Piana coming down to the inside, tucked in, but great start by Toby Grahovic to the outside. And don't count out Ian James in that Paynos, trying to fight for that third position as they go down through turn number 1.
Absolutely side by side they were through turn 1 and also through turn 2 as well. Whoops, there's a spinner at the back of the field. That is car number 51, that's Preston Calvert. And I think that's Justin Raphael's BMW as well. They've got together at turn 1, but it is Lawson Aschenbach that leads the field. In the pole-winning car, race winner yesterday, Lawson Aschenbach, was his 25th Pirelli World Challenge victory, and a remarkable record he has from Palm Beach Gardens in Florida. Drove an exemplary race yesterday under intense pressure all the way through from Gabriele Piana from Italy in that number 21 Porsche.
You're looking down there at turn 1. Looks like that incident did get clear. Both cars back underway. We'll have to see how much damage there are, but those two cars off into the wall. Preston Calvert was able to get going again. As a battle here with Nate Stacey and Tony Gaples in that Ford Mustang. Jeff Courtney there right behind them, trying to see if these guys get side by side. He can make a move as everybody's starting to get single file around the streets of St. Petersburg here to complete lap number 1. It is Lawson Aschenbach. Gabriele Piana is in second, and James Sofronis third, followed by Ian James in fourth. You see Jay Buford in that Mustang, the number 55. Those are two gentlemen there, Ian James and Jay Buford, that had a disaster race yesterday. They're looking for something better here today.
Yeah, the field sorting itself out, and we can expect Drew Stavely, see where he can move forward again from that 7th starting position in a Ginetta car number 12, finished third yesterday, won the GTSA category, a really fine drive in that little Ginetta. But out in the front, it's still that first two again. Lawson Aschenbach and Gabriele Piana just begin to edge away already from James Sofronis in third place.
You see Shane Lewis there right in front of Tony Gaples on your screen in that 74 Ranch Racing machine, trying to stay ahead of the Chevy Camaro GT4 of Gaples, and he's getting hounded by Nate Stacey with the tight street circuit back here behind the soccer stadium area. It really bunches those cars up nose to tail. Now, Ken Piana, did he do any changes overnight last night to try to see if he can keep up a little bit? Let's take a replay at the start here as they go green. You see the field fan out almost 4 or 5 wide, Jeremy, as they come down the runway.
Tremendous, wasn't it? Lawson Aschenbach there, keeping the inside line pretty much tightly locked. There would have been a way through one, and Piana there squeezes alongside him in the braking area, but Lawson Aschenbach's got so much experience here. He was able to position his car to where there was room on the inside, but there's also room for him to get his braking done, carry a lot of momentum around the outside line, and have the preferred line into the left-hander at turn 2. There's George Kurtz off the road.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's damage to the front on that Audi R8 LMS. Had a DNF yesterday with that tire we talked about at the beginning of the show here, where he had a flat, kind of brushed the wall on his own mistake, he claimed, but now here it is with off in the damage on the entrance of turn number 14 as Nate Stacey gets around Tony Gaples. Next on his list is going to be Shane Lewis to start battling through there. And a great start by Harry Gottsecker and Marco Radicic right behind this lead group here, fighting for that 9th place.
Yeah, Harry Gottsecker had a disappointing day yesterday, finished down in the 17th position. The youngster from Florida, just 18 years of age, had some really strong results last year driving a Ginetta. This year moved across to the Racers Edge Motorsport team in that distinctive Sin R1 red color scheme V8 engine in that car. It's really fast, but unfortunately got involved in an incident very early in the race yesterday, and here he is now trying to work his way back through the field.
And Marco Radicic just got around him there. He got held up a little bit through that corner, and it can happen that quick. As you see, James Sofronis in third, Ian James in fourth, everybody coming down through turn 14. Looks like George Kurtz was able to get his car clear. He's coming down on pit lane. You can see the damage there to that front of his Audi R8. Heavy damage to the front of that car. They'll have GMG crew will have to get that car fixed to get back under there. You have to complete half of the laps of the race to score points So he was able to score points yesterday, but obviously not where he was running, sitting in 4th overall.
That's right. He finished way back in 24th after the problems yesterday, and he is a winner last year of the GTSA category. The championship, won the class 9 times during the season. A tremendous breakout season for George Kurtz. Unfortunately, he's got a lot of work to do today if he's even going to get that car back into the fray. Certainly, that will be the goal, to score some championship points.
Looking back there at Ian James, you see Jay Buford come through. Toby Grahovic in this brand new classic BMW M4 GT4, our GTSA AM contender. Sitting back in the 6th position, first in our AM. Vinny Algaretta, the Mustang behind him, is a pro. Then Drew Stavely, your GTSA AM winner in the Ginetta G55, sitting in 2nd in our AM category, followed by Headland in 3rd place. Really trick there. If you want to follow Mike Headland on Twitter, at Mike_Headland, Hedlund. Go ahead and give him a follow. If he gets on a podium, he's going to donate 50 cents of every Twitter follower he has to a local charity. If he wins, it'll be $1. He had to donate $1,536 yesterday to a local charity by being on the podium. Pretty cool deal.
I think I've been friends with Mike for quite a while on Twitter, but maybe I should unfriend him and then friend him again. So
just keep building that number.
Exactly up. Right, yeah. But he's running nicely there inside the top 10 again. He's kind of 45. That distinctive Flying Lizard Motorsport livery, silver and red. The car looks great, brand new, one of the brand new Audis in this field. But up at the front of the field, we've got this battle once again between the Chevy Camaro of Lawson Eichenbach and the much smaller, 200 pounds lighter Porsche Cayman GT4 Club Sport MR of Gabriele Piana. Great battle between those two. Edging away a little bit from James Sofronis. Having said that, James Sofronis in an Audi car number 14, brand new car coming into this weekend. He's found a half a second of lap time compared to yesterday. So clearly they're making strides with that GMG Audi. He's about 2 or 3 seconds behind the 2 leaders at the moment, but running comfortably ahead of Ian James and the Panos, who had problems yesterday, now running in 4th.
Well, Nate Stacey in that Racer Inc. Core Motorsports Ford Mustang GT4 has been on a tear. He's picked off about 4 cars since the start, moved himself up into the top 10, and currently right now sits and has the fastest lap of the race at a 1:19.035, as it looks like he's trying to see if he can get around Mike Headland. So Nate Stacey doing a great job moving himself through the field in that Mustang.
Wow, that's a big stride from yesterday, because Nate's fastest lap in the race yesterday was 1:20.7. He's found a 2 3/4. I spoke to Larry Rehagen from that team yesterday just before the race, and they were making wholesale changes because Nate had a problem in Friday in the first session, didn't get many laps in. They had a drive shaft failure on that car, so they had to replace that, got very, very few laps in. And then when they went out for the second session, just wasn't happy with the balance of the car. It just understeer way more than he liked, so they made, he described it as wholesale changes to the setup going into the race yesterday. Clearly made some gains, but not enough, so they've changed the car again for today, and clearly working much more now into the favor of Nate Stacey in that Ford Mustang caliber 52.
Whatever changes they made definitely helped. Talk to Nate this morning. He says, I'm just going to send it. Of course, the young phenom getting it done here, just turned 18. Been in the series, I think this starts his 5th year now, as he was 14, the youngest race winner in Pirelli World Challenge history, winning in the touring car B-Spec category in a Ford Fiesta back when most kids are just in junior high school. Nate Stacey was racing professionally here in Pirelli World Challenges. Looks like Drew Stavely able to get around Vinny Algaretta. Not sure if Vinny's having a problem there, but fell well off the pace there on the exit of turn number 1, as it looks like Jeff Courtney and Marco Radicic having some problems down there in turn number 1.
Yeah, they were battling away for just outside the top 10, and Courtney's car not yet going. Ooh, yikes, a couple of close avoidances there. He's able to get going again, but Marco Radicic hasn't yet got that BMW fired up again.
And if you're looking for a local team to cheer for from very close nearby Sarasota, Florida, is Marco Radicic, Precision Driving. Equestrian Center there as well. Daughter is well into horses, and he says if you think race cars are expensive, you should try horses. It's a little bit of a difference there, but it looks like we're going to have to go full course yellow because with Marko Radicic's BMW there sitting on the outside of the exit of turn number 1. Just an unsafe area position there for that car to be. So we're going to have to get him removed. And they communicated with the crew. They have a all broadcast radio for all the teams that they're able to find out from the teams what's going on and if the car can get refired or not. And they said that the car will not start again, so they have to go full course yellow.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Marko Radicic. He doesn't seem to have much luck here in his home race, does he? Because last year he was running a GT Cup car, a
Ferrari.
It was a Ferrari Challenge car, wasn't it? And he had a major fire, which was really, really nasty. And this year he's come to rest there early in the second race. But interesting character, isn't he, Marko? He's originally from Serbia, but spent a lot of his life, 15 years in Portugal. Been living over here now in the US for 20 years. Done a fair bit of racing over the years, and really now getting back into it on a full-time basis in this precision driving BMW this season. A brand new car, of course, for him. Brand new car to the series in GT4, and he's still coming to grips with it.
Yeah, it looks like you tried to make an inside move there on Jeff Courtney. All over the curb there onto the inside. Yes. And of course, looks like damage to that left front suspension there. Wasn't damage from the spin for the Maserati, but saw the car kind of try to go forward and saw the car bounce a little bit, but had a Simcraft driving simulator set up in the pit area there, and they're trying to go for the fastest times. And sitting in the top 3 right now, so pretty proud of that right now.
Cool.
So last time I checked this morning.
Yeah, unfortunately, probably won't be very proud of that precision driving there, I don't think, Marko, when he looks at that replay. He got his nose there where it probably didn't belong and spun around Jeff Courtney, and unfortunately, it's he that's come off worst.
Of course, the safety crews here at St. Pete right on
scene. It's a cool setup
there
in the paddock there with that simulator, isn't it, I must say.
It's pretty neat. You know, you got the big 3 screens, and a lot of these drivers, when you talk about video game players or sim racing and moving it into esports now, and they have esports tournaments. Of course, if you're a fan of any video games or racing games, make sure you grab your copy of Project Cars 2, and you can race with a lot of the cars that you see racing here. Pirelli World Challenge debuting in the Project Cars 2 video game, so pretty cool deal to grab yourself a copy of that. Available for PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox. Pretty neat gig.
Yeah, it's a great way to get into the sport, sim racing, and there's lots of opportunities. Oops.
Oh, not sure what's going on there.
Jeff Courtney appears to have some problems on the front straight, and a couple of cars getting bottled up behind him. That Maserati doesn't seem to want to go at the moment. Of course, you're not allowed to overtake under yellow flag, so the other driver's quite rightly staying in position, and now that car fires up again, so all seems to be well. It ends well. Lost a couple of positions, but having had that incident earlier on with Marko Radicic in turn 1, you won't be too worried about that, I don't think. So reset the order then. It's a 50-minute race, 37.5 minutes remaining. Lawson Archenbach in car number 1 at the front of the field for Chevrolet. Gabriella Piana for Porsche in second place, car number 21. The Audi of James Safronis, car number 14 in third. Ian James in the Panos in number 50 in fourth place. Then the Ford of Jade Buford, car number 55. The BMW of Toby Grahovic, car number 26, and the Ginetta of Drew Staveley in car number 12. So 7 different manufacturers in the top 7 positions. It's not until we get down to Vinny Allegretto in car number 10 that we see the second of the Fords, and then another Audi of Mike Headland, and rounding out the top 10, Nate Sasty in car number 52, another Ford Mustang. He's been unable yet to find our way past Mike Headland.
Just not quite yet, but looking at the GTSA AM category, Toby Grahovic and Drew Staveley battling first and second. Now they're nose to tail in that AM category. Going back at some of the other notables throughout our series, you see the Shane Lewis and Gar Robinson from that 74 Ranch Racing team. They're both having decent runs there. Mark Clinton and his McLaren sitting in the 21st position. Jason Bell, who had just a tremendous race yesterday, finished third in the GT Pro category, 4th place overall. Local from Tampa, Florida here, right up the road. Franklin Manor sponsored on that car, one of the clubs and nightclubs, restaurant here that he's a principal in, and good to see him in front of the home crowd, but not up to speed like he was there yesterday.
No, he profited from a few other incidents yesterday. Drove a tremendous race, but he was a really fine drive by Jason there. By far and away his best performance in the Pirelli World Challenge. Made his debut here on the straight streets of St. Pete last season. Finished 8th in one of the races. His previous best coming into this weekend was a 6th at VIR last year, so he topped that by finishing 4th yesterday overall, and as you say, 3rd in the pro category. So excellent performance by him.
Yeah, and, new team and a new car.
New car, one of the new Audi R8 LMS GT4 cars. And talking of the Audis, James Sofronis, just before this caution came out, set a new fastest lap of the race. The 3rd place driver, car number 14, a 1:18.957. That is significantly faster than the fastest lap, which was a new race lap record yesterday. Was a 1:19.201 by the race winner Lawson Aschenbach. So tremendous performance there, and big gains clearly overnight by that GMG racing team.
Still under caution here. There's a little bit of fluid on the track down there in turn number 1 from that incident with Marco Radicic and Jeff Courtney. They're trying to get that cleaned up so we can get back into green here right away. Still a long time to go here. 34 minutes of racing. This is going to bunch that field back up. It's kind of interesting you mentioned about that Audi of James Sofronis able to put down some fastest laps now. Will he have something in there? Is Lawson Aschenbach just pacing the field? And can Piana stay with Lawson Aschenbach? We saw the restart yesterday where Lawson really gave the youngster a schooling on what it takes to restart a Pirelli World Challenge race, and just exited out of turn number 14 onto the straightaway and pulled about a 10 to 12 car length gap over that second place. But getting word from race control, lights out in the pace car when they come back around, and we will be going green this next time by.
Splendid news, and we'll see now whether James Sofronis can challenge the 2 leaders. He dropped back a little bit from the Chevrolet and the Porsche in the early stages of the race before that full course caution, but as I mentioned, he just set the fastest lap of the race, so clearly the speed is in that car. And with his experience, he's been around this sport a long time, as James Sofronis. This will be his 211th start in the Pirelli World Challenge. 7 overall wins he's had in the past. It's been a while since he's had an overall win. In fact, a long time. His last overall victory was in 2013 at Circuit of the Americas, 61 races ago. But he won the GT. He was in GT last year, not GTS. He won GTA last season many times, including the most recent race at Circuit of the Americas at Sonoma. So he's a winner in the category, but today he's looking for the overall win as well. It'll be a welcome break if he can get that under his belt once again.
But once Lawson Aschenbach in his Black Dog Speed Shop Team Chevy Camaro GT4 hits that VP Fuel acceleration zone, it is his determination on when to go. Piana does not want to be shuffled back, and he did it again as he got held up. And now James Sofronis is going to be going around him as Piana protects down to the inside. Sofronis back to the outside. These 2 gentlemen going to have to be careful as Ian James and now Jay Buford to the inside.
Yeah, Buford on the inside of James there, side by side through 1 and 2, but Ian James just about holds that position in that red and black Penos Avanzano GT ahead of the charcoal grey Mustang of Jade Buford. Jade Buford involved yesterday in an incident with James Sofronis actually down in turn 1, and that put him out of that race, but the PF Racing team, the Pezek family racing team, has put that car back together again, and Jade Buford, a development driver for Multimatic Motorsports, which develops this Ford Mustang GT4 car on behalf of Ford Performance, is back at the wheel and running strongly this morning.
Yeah, you got a lot of laps in a Mustang getting that car developed, but Ian James developing this Panos as well, sort of the, quote, factory driver for the Panos. Been a stalwart in the series, had a miserable race here last weekend. 2 DNFs, didn't score any points, but went on a tear the rest of the season. And one of those what might have been, had he have scored just a few points here at St. Petersburg, it would have been a little bit different in the championship. But Lawson Aschenbach, what a good way to start a restart again. Does it gives himself the breathing room now over Piana. So that battle for second between Piana and Sofronis. Then you have a battle for fourth against Ian James and then Vinny Algaretta.
Yeah, Gabriella Piana was very gracious yesterday after the race. I mean, he had a fabulous battle with Lawson Aschenbach. Those 2 well ahead of the rest of the field. And you see more side-by-side action down in turn 1. It's Harry Gottsacker making the move on Shane Lewis in the Mercedes. That is for position and just outside the top 10. So Harry Gottsacker moving forward. But Piana, it was his first race in the Pirelli World Challenge yesterday. He really enjoyed it, even though he came home second, having started from pole position. But he learned a lot from Lawson Aschenbach, and great respect between those two drivers was clearly apparent, wasn't it, just watching the race from the outside, and good to hear that respect was followed up on after the race as well.
Yeah, I think Piana learned a couple things too, sitting there behind Lawson Aschenbach, everything except how to restart.
Exactly. Not yet learned that one.
Learned a lot more here to see if he can stay in front of James Safranis now. Nate Stacey still continuing his tear. He's on the backside of Vinny Algaretta now, trying to fight for that 8th position, seeing if he can work his way around now. Can James Safranis goes way deep there to turn number 14, try to diamond that corner a little bit, make the straightaway a little bit longer. It seems the Audi's a little quicker down the straightaway, similar to the Camaro, where the Porsche can't quite keep up, but he's able to pull away in the handling department, and that brand new team from Milner Motorsports in their debut here in Pirelli World Challenge.
That battle for 6th and 7th positions, Toby Grahovec in the number 26 BMW, Drew Stavely in number 12 Ginetta. That is a battle for GTSA, the non-professional drivers. And it's pretty close between, just a couple of car lengths between them. A train of cars, Ian James, number 50 in 4th place. Then Jade Buford in the Ford Mustang, Grahovec in the BMW Stavely. And also the Fords of Vinny Allegretti and Nate Stacey, who has got past Mark Headland to that restart. Mark Headland actually has dropped back to 13th position on these first couple of laps after the restart. So we'll see if Stacey can build on that. He had set the fastest lap of the race. It was eclipsed by James Safranis right before that caution period. But Nate Stacey is continuing to move his way forward. He started today in the position 15th on the grid. He was, Nate Stacey, now up into 9th.
You see Piana starting to bounce over those curbs a lot more, using a lot more racetrack. And really you can see the difference between horsepower, handling, lightweight, heavyweight, as Piana goes down to the inside to defend. Safranis goes left, goes back right again. Now Piana's got to be careful here with that block. You're not allowed to make a move in response. Will Safranis be able to stick it down to the inside? He does not. Piana able to hold that 2nd place, but you're allowed to make a move and hold your position. You cannot make a move in response to what the gentleman behind you is doing. So I'm sure Brian Till is going to have a look at that and might see some fair warnings over race control radio.
Yeah, what is fair in Europe is not considered fair in the US. There's a couple of different philosophies on how you go racing. As Jeff Lepper was explaining, you can defend your position, that's fine. That's exactly what Piana did, heading down the main front straight here towards turn 1. He moved across to the center of the racetrack to dissuade James Safranis from going down the inside. So therefore James Safranis went down the outside, and what the Piana did then was move back across left to the left-hand side of the racetrack. Did exactly the same there again at turn 10. That will get a warning, I am sure, from the race officials here. And if Piana doesn't mend his ways a little bit, then I think you might be right, Jeff. I think there could be a penalty coming for that number 21 car.
Yeah, just got the warning on race control right now, that warning for blocking. Once again, is that move in response. If the guy moves, he can drive right where he's at. He can go down to the inside and protect. But if he makes a 2nd move, it is not. James just not quite close enough to make that move right now.
I really like that rule. I think it's very easy to block somebody. You can weave from side to side on a racetrack. You see it in Formula One all the time. To me, you know, if someone's going to run on you and he passes you, fine. If you have to block him all the time, left and right, I don't think that's real proper motor racing. It certainly didn't happen back in the day when there was a lot more respect between drivers. And I think I like the rule that's instituted here primarily, or in many series in North America. You can make one move to defend your position, but no more after that. I think it's a really sensible way to go racing. And Piana's just got to learn it. You know, it's a different philosophy of racing. He's used to one way. He's done it for many years in Europe. So now he's got to learn the American way, and therefore drive better. Because the only reason that Safranis behind him is going to get a run on him is because he makes some sort of mistake. So if you run cleanly and keep your lines clean, don't make any mistakes, then the guy behind you probably is not going to have an opportunity to pass. That's what he needs to concentrate on, rather than blocking from one side to the other on the racetrack.
Now Safranis is a little bit closer here on the back of Piana now, trying to see if he can work a draft in the power of that Audi. Let's see what happens here with the defense as Piana goes to the inside, tries to protect a little bit. Safranis going to get a run down in the braking zone. Piana shuts the door on him into the exit there. Just don't think James was close enough to try to make that move. That's Harry Gottsecker doing a great job as well.
That's what racing was about. Piana did not defend at all that time. He kept his racing line down the outside and therefore breaking his normal point and able to keep his position. There was no way for Sophronis to get down the inside with. That's what racing's all about. If Sophronis wants to push the issue and dive down the inside, great, go for it. But that's good, clean racing between those two. Piana clearly listening on the radio and doing exactly what he needs to do. And because of that, he's lost no ground to the race leader as well, because he's able to take the optimum line through that corner, brake as late as possible, and now he's still right on the tail of Lawson Aschenbach. We've got a fantastic three-car battle for the lead.
Yeah, this is. You see Lawson they're starting to close in on him. I think that's the best thing that James and Piana can do right now is if they go ahead and go nose to tail and try to run Lawson down a little bit, then start racing with yourself. Earlier, we just saw that battle for 8th between Vinny Algaretta, Nate Stacey, and Harry Gottsecker moving himself into the top 10 in that Racer's Edge Sin R1. So good battle in the 8th is heating up, but we're watching this lead battle now between Lawson Aschenbach, Gabriella Piana, and don't count out James Sophronis in that Audi. I think James right now, obviously the overall fastest lap, and looking at the lap times, they're all lapping right in that 1:19.5 second bracket. So they're really close in lap times. It's going to come down to, like you said, drive better because you don't want to make that mistake.
That's right. Really tremendous race at the front and all sorts of great racing farther down the field as well. There's a good view of Harry Gottsecker all over the back end of Nate Stacey, who in turn is chasing Vinny Algaretta coming down now into turn 4. Stacey thinks about looking to the inside, clearly isn't close enough to make a lunge down there, so he has to tuck in behind, and it's Algaretta who leads that little battle underneath the Firestone Bridge and out towards the north end of the racetrack.
There's our GTS AM lead battle. Toby Grahovic in that classic BMW M4 GT4 over Drew Stavely in his Ginetta G5 from Ian Lacing Racing, G3 Racing. 3 cars strong here this weekend with Ginettas. We mentioned what that team had to go through with Frank Gannett getting his car repaired. They had to drive to Miami, pick up parts, and got back to the track here at 6 this morning to get Frank Gannett out on the track. So good job for the team. And Drew Stavely getting his debut win here in Pirelli World Challenge, his first win, so to speak, in Pirelli World Challenge yesterday in that Ginetta. I know Toby Grahovic's going to want to see if he can dissuade that a little bit and get his first win here, moving up from the touring car category, your past 2016 Pirelli World Challenge touring car champ, now racing GTS.
This time Stacey looks to the inside of Alexander going down into turn 1 again, not quite close enough to make that pass. So those 2 cars narrowly ahead of the Sin R1 of Harry Gottsecker. Tremendous battle for 8th, 9th and 10th positions. And how cool is it to see 7 different manufacturers out at the front of this field, and they all seem to be pretty closely matched.
Yeah, it talks about the balanced performance and speaks volumes to this Pirelli World Challenge officials and what they've done to balance these cars, the global SRO, Stefan Rattel organization, and what they've done to get these different platforms homologated together to be able to have the lap time so close. Like you said, Jeremy, 7 different auto manufacturers in the top 7 positions. And simply just amazing to see that. So any given day, any given car make and manufacturer has a chance or an opportunity to win a race here.
Yeah, just a quick note, by the way, George Kurtz did not get that 04 Audi back out onto the racetrack, so it looks like it's going to be a no-point score for George this weekend. That will hurt his championship aspirations considerably as the leaders come past one more time. Just under 22 minutes remaining in this race, so we're only just over halfway, and the 3 leaders, Aschenbach, Piana and Sophronis, still tied together.
Still watching this battle for 8th. Vinny Algaretta, Nate Stacey, Harry Gottsecker, nose to tail. They've been this way for the last 3 or 4 laps. And Nate Stacey and Vinny Algaretta, very similar Ford Mustang GT4s, of course, 2 different teams, Core Motorsports. And Nate Stacey looking to the inside of Vinny Algaretta to see if he has a pass this time down to the inside. He does. He gets around Vinny Algaretta, and Gottsecker looking on the outside to see if he can make that pass stick too. Down here to the inside, they're still side by side. I think Vinny Algaretta, better part of valor there, backed out of it and let him go.
That was a very brave move by the youngster Harry Gottsecker around the outside of 5 and 6. They got the inside at 7 and makes that pass stick. Tremendous move by Harry Gottsecker in car number 69 for the Racer's Edge Motorsports team, and John Mirachi and those boys. They ran a couple of cars at times last season. They've got a good youngster at the wheel of that car this year. Had a disappointing day yesterday, but now up well inside the top 10 and looking to improve upon that as well.
With only a few positions behind Jade Buford in that number 55 PF Racing Mustang, and Jade drove that Sin last year. Pretty much anytime he showed up for a race, he won it in that Sin. So Jade Buford has been doing a lot of development for Racer's Edge on that car. As you see the battle here between Mike Hedlund and Jason Bell, Mark Clinton back in the field. They're fighting, it looks like, for that 13th position.
They're a battle all the way up and down this field, aren't they? Absolutely tremendous racing. Less than a second covering the top three, Aschenbach, Piana and Sophronis. And Aschenbach, you know, clearly he's got a fast car, obviously. Started from the pole position, won yesterday's race, but it's a big, heavy car, is that Chevy Camaro. Weighs 200 pounds more than the Porsche in his mirrors at the moment. So he's having to be a little bit careful as we see Mark Clennon there trying to make a move on the inside, and actually he's losing out of position as a result of it, isn't he?
Yeah, Gar Robinson was able to get back around him. Jason Bell got around him, so now it looks like Fiona is trying to make a move to get by him too in that Porsche came another Pfaff Motorsports Porsche. Mark Clennon looks like he might be having some problems there, pulls over. We'll have to maintain that, see if that car can get back underway.
Come the leaders one more time. Super consistent there. I mean, 1 minute 19 between 1 minute 19.3 and 1 minute 19.5. A string of laps there by Lawson Aschenbach and Piana and Sophronis. They can do the same lap times, but they can't find a way past that grunt of the Chevy coming off the corners, and its top line speed advantage as well makes it very, very difficult to pass here.
Perfect example of how we talk about what you're allowed to do. Nate Stacy pulled one lane over down the straightaway on the front stretch just to protect that inside line. Harry Gottsecker kept his line on the outside. Nice, good braking and able to not lose any ground there to the inside. He could have pushed the issue, went back to the inside, but no playing games there. Just Nate protected. Harry Gottsecker said, I'll find another way to get around you a little bit later. Get through the corner nice and neat. He's still on the back bumper of that Mustang. Here is James Sophronis looking down to the inside of Piana. The battle for second starting to heat up. Just 18 minutes to go in this race.
Yeah, and Piana did defend the inside line there, and I think that time, he get away with it. He sort of resisted the temptation to move back to the outside because he saw Sophronis was already looking potentially to look to the inside at turn 10. He wasn't able to make that pass. So he could get away with that one, but he's certainly pushing the envelope here in terms of defending his position. A great battle for second and third.
And there goes Piana protecting down to the inside.
He's going to run this time, but he can't quite break deep enough.
Whoops. James just unfortunately went way too deep into that braking zone, trying to go back around into the outside, just missed his braking point. Got back underway, but you can see the lost about 3-4 car lengths there on the exit of turn number one. Going to have to try to recover. Piana hopefully will start putting his head down and try to do what he can to run down our leader, Lawson Aschenbach, and not have to worry about Sophronis anymore if he was to do that.
That's right, because Piana's Porsche was quickest at both of the practice sessions on Friday. It was fastest in qualifying also on Saturday morning, but it's Aschenbach who's given him a bit of schooling on how to race these cars yesterday and again today as well. So Piana's got to put his head down now, as you say, and try and take advantage of the fact of Sophronis making that late braking effort in turn one and losing a bit of ground as a result. Now Piana, maybe he can chase after the Chevy Camaro in the lead of this race once again.
Looking at our leaders coming out of turn number 14 onto the front stretch. And just about a lap or two, they're going to start getting into some lap traffic here. Yeah. As you see Lawson Aschenbach coming down the straightaway. Not sure if Lawson had some buildup on his tires there, but you saw him weaving back and forth down the straightaway, trying just to get those Pirelli P0 tires cleaned off. As Nate Stacy, Harry Gottsecker are able to go nose to tail, they're starting to close in on our GTS AM leaders, Drew Stavely and Toby Grahovic, as they come down here into turn number one. Harry Gottsecker looking to the outside of Nate Stacy. He can put that Sin R1 to the inside through turn number two, not able to do it. But I know Nate and Harry are having their own race for the pro category. They're not going to want to mess up that AM race. But then again, if the guy's holding you up, you got a guy behind you, you got to get around him as well.
Yeah, great battle between those two 18-year-olds. Nate Stacy from Owasso in Oklahoma, Harry Gottsecker from New Braunfels in Texas. and they are battling away like veterans here on the streets of St. Petersburg. This is the dice for 8th and 9th, but they're right behind both Drew Stavely, number 12 Ginetta, and Toby Grahovic in the number 26 BMW as well. So it's a really good 4-car battle, effectively for 6th position. Ian James has just turned his best lap of the race last run. Our 4th place car, that's a Panos Avezzano, car number 50, running in a, well, it was a fairly lonely 4th position, although Jay Buford has made some ground towards him over the last few laps. Now just a second between the 4th and 5th place cars, number 50 and 55, heading down now into turn 1. Really good racing there. Nate Safety trying to make a move on Drew Stavely to head out of turn 1 into turn 2, but he had the outside line into turn 2, that left-handed, which is pretty much flat out in these cars. I don't think he'll be able to make that stick, but it's certainly really, really good racing up and down the field.
And you got Steve Burns, Frank Gannett, Piana right on the back bumper of Lawson Aschenbach. Now you see Gannett doing a great job just pulling over, getting out of the way of the lead duo here coming through. James Safranis will get by Gannett next as Lawson Aschenbach looking down to the inside as Steve Burns. He's going to give the position away. Piana able to go down through the inside as well. So lap traffic starting to play a part here as you see James Safranis now trying to get through as he gets hung up by Steve Burns. VP Racing Fuel Ginetta, of course, Steve enjoying retirement now, the founder of VP Racing Fuel, coming out here getting a good chance to come out and get some racing done. So enjoying retirement.
Really interesting character, an accomplished sailor as well in his younger days. But I tell you what, he needs to pay more attention to his mirrors, quite frankly, because he did the same yesterday. He caused some grief for the leaders, and he's doing it again now, and that's not necessary. When you're a lap down to the leaders, give them the respect, let them go, and then have your own race after that. Because, as you were saying, he's involved in a great race over with Frank Gannett, who did a really good job to get out of the way. Steve Burns, not so much, and he's able to maintain his position ahead of Gannett, is Steve Burns. But, like I say, watch your mirrors a little bit.
Well, Frank Gannett able to get out of the way of these lead group. Piana was right on that back bumper of Lawson Aschenbach, but Lawson able to control that traffic just a little bit better. Caught that Ginetta just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I love that going away camera shot of Piana right there in that Porsche. You can see just how close these drivers get to the walls here. Sometimes a little too close, as Toby Grahovic and Nate Stacey have gotten around Drew Stavely. Drew dropped back a little bit now as they're trying to approach our GTSA leader, Toby Grahovic. Will have to check out Stavely, make sure there's not a problem there.
Yeah, I think they'd been inching closer, hadn't they? They both made the pass now, and also Harry Gottsacker has got past as well, so Drew Stavely has lost a couple of positions there. But in terms of the AM category, it wasn't that significant because both Stacey and Gottsacker are pros. Stavely isn't. And Stavely is well clear of the next AM contender. That would be Tony Gaples in the 12th position overall. So I think discretion a better part of valor there for Drew Stavely. Let's look after the points in AM if he's going to keep his AM status, having finished third overall yesterday. So I think a good sensible move there by Nick Stavely to get out of the way, let those two youngsters get on with it.
Here's where you see the Porsche of Piana just a little bit better through the tighter sections on St. Pete, but once we get back to the straightaway, the legs of that Camaro able to open back up for Lawson Aschenbach. Piana trying everything he can do desperately to stay on the back bumper of that Camaro, but like you can see, once they get to the straightaway, the big torque of that V8 just pulls away from that little six-cylinder.
Yeah, really frustrating for Piana there, the much smaller, lighter car. Very, very nimble through the corners, but he doesn't have the grunt on the straights, and boy, that's so frustrating, isn't it, when you're alongside somebody coming out of a corner, he just pulls away from you under acceleration. But that traffic a couple of laps ago that cost James Safranis 2 full seconds, he's doing the best he can to whittle away that gap again and get back onto the tail of the two leaders.
Yeah, we saw the problem earlier with Mark Clinton in his premier copier McLaren, and unfortunately he has retired. Mechanical problems getting word down there on pit lane. So thank you so much to Ryan Marine down on our pit lane here. You'll be able to see the expanded coverage on CBS Sportsnet of our GTS category March 24th, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Set your DVRs and your watch parties for that. As you see, Nate Stacey now is caught to the back of Steve Burns. Toby Grohovic able to get around him. Harry Gottsecker still on the back bumper of Nate Stacey. And Drew Stavely recovered a little bit as he's worked his way back up to Nate Stacey and Harry Gottsecker. So not sure what the issue there was with Stavely in that Ginetta, but he's recovered and worked his way back up now.
Yeah, I think he probably got, I would assume that one of the cars kind of got inside him, pushed a little bit wide, and that allowed Gottsacker to get past as well. So they're all pretty evenly matched, all of those cars. So Drew hanging on to the back of those two right now. Yes, it cost him in the overall positions, but not at least in his AM class. He's looking good here for another victory in the AM division.
Big incident there. Steve Burns gets into Vinny Algaretta, and then they bounce back and forth side by side. You saw the airborne car get airborne up in the air with that Mustang and then smack the wall, came back across and hit Steve Burns. And that was just a matter of lap traffic, wrong place, wrong time. With only 9 minutes to go now, I don't think we might be able to get back under green here, but huge incident there. And I thought I saw Toby Grohovic behind Drew Stavely. I'll have to see when they cross the line here. And sure enough, Toby Grohovic fell back behind Drew Stavely. So now what happened? I got to think that was all that lap traffic with Steve Burns here.
I think he must have had 43. I think he must have had a spin on the last lap somewhere, because it was a 1:28. He had been doing 20s and 21s. So he lost 7 or 8 seconds on that one lap. He must have had a little bit of a spin somewhere. That's more than just traffic. Let's have a replay of what happened here. And,
it looks like Steve Burns was just trying to stay on the outside, stay out of the way a little bit.
He's got to do a better job, I'm afraid.
Lost control, got the car a little bit loose. So here he is.
He just lost control. Steve Burns was on the outside line there. He lost control of the car through the kink at turn 9 and just cannoned into the side of Vinny Allegretto, who was pretty much minding his own business and just going past there. It was just one of those kind of unfortunate incidents. It's a very tricky place. It's a fast kink there, and you're carrying a lot of speed. And when you get off on the dirty side of the racetrack on the right-hand side, I think Burns was trying to do a good job to stay out of the way. But with the racing groove there, just off that racing line, there's a fair bit of rubber marbles out there. He just kind of lost control and spun that car, half spun the car directly into the side of the Ford Mustang.
And you can see right there, Toby Grohovic was already behind Drew Stavely before this, so interesting to see how that played out. Try to get away, but yeah, Stavely now to the lead in our GTS AM category. As we go full course yellow here, 8 minutes to go. The safety crews are on scene. We'll have to see if they can get those cars cleared off right away and we can get back underway, but with that big of an incident there, it's going to be kind of hard, I think, with the tight compound schedule that we have here with Pirelli World Challenge and all the other races here this weekend. There's really no more time built into the schedule to say, all right, well, we can have more minutes here to continue to race.
Well, it's a 50-minute race.
Race,
it's a timed race. All the Pirelli World Challenge races are 50 minutes, aren't they? The sprint races. So that's that. I don't think there's even a provision in the rule book is there to extend them beyond. No.
Yeah, the only way that would happen is if there's a red flag, and of course the clock would stop. And if there is time in the schedule, you can continue. We've seen it before where we've been under red flag and the race had to end because we ran out of time. But wow, we'll just catch our breaths here, get the field back up, give you an update on where our running order. Just wanted to kind of run through all the great partners that make Pirelli World Challenge what it is, including AFE Power, our official intake and air filter supplier of the Pirelli World Challenge. BRM Chronographs, of course, our sportsman categories getting their beautiful BRM chronograph the last few years. Brand new sponsor coming on, CrowdStrike this season, the official cybersecurity company of the Pirelli World Challenge. Got a feel for the CEO of that corporation there, George Kurtz, your last year champion, unfortunately not able to do that. Eibach, the official suspension of the Pirelli World Challenge. Eibach suspension. Euro World Motorsports, for shop in Houston, Texas, does certified carbon fiber repair as well as track day support for your team and if you're based out in Houston. Forge Line, had a great day. A lot of cars in the series now running those Forge Line forged wheels. So got to see good support from Forge Line, longtime partners of the Pirelli World Challenge. Optima Batteries, our best start of the race award. And it looks like we will be going red flag and checkered flag here to go ahead and end this round of the GTS Pirelli World Challenge Champion. 6 minutes to go here. And the track with as blocked as it is, there's just no way for the safety crews to get the job they need to get done down here on pit lane. So to let the car, out there on the track to get those cars through that safety crew just makes it an unsafe condition. So we'll move the cars on pit lane, and that'll end round number 2 here for our GTS category.
Yeah, I think that's a really sensible decision by the stewards there. Really unfortunate that the race ends early, but clearly there's no way to get that mess cleared up. So rather than just trail around behind the safety car for the remaining 7 or 8 minutes, you might as well just park the car, so there isn't going to be any more racing. It was a tremendous race in any case, wasn't it? But certainly disappointing that we didn't get the opportunity to come down to the checkered flag out in green flag conditions, but nevertheless a tremendous race.
It was great. Congratulations to Lawson Aschenbach sweeping the weekend in his Chevy Camaro GT4R. Gabriella Piana in his Mueller Motorsports, H&R Springs, Porsche Cayman Club Sport GT4 MR in second, and James Safranis in that Global Motorsports Group Audi R8 LMS in third. In your AM category, how about that last lap pass for Drew Stavely now in that Ian Lacey Racing G3 Racing Ginetta G55 getting his win, sweeping the weekend as well. Toby Grahovic in his classic BMW M4 GT4 in second, and you look at Tony Gaples. How about that? Another of the Black Dog Team Chevy Camaros rounding out your top 3 in our AM category. Going to head down to Victory Circle celebrations there, Jeremy. Close out our. Want to thank everybody here at world-challenge.com for watching our live coverage of the Pirelli World Challenge.
Thank you very much indeed, Jeff Lepper. He's going to head down to Victory Circle, and again, unfortunately finished under caution there, but still a tremendous race. And Lawson Aschenbach putting on a clinic for the 2nd day in a row here. He's a veteran driver now. I still think of him as a youngster when he was starting out in open wheel cars, but boy, what a career he's made for himself in the Pirelli World Challenge. 5 championships for 4 different manufacturers, for Porsche, for Cadillac, for Honda, and a couple for Chevrolet, including one last season in GTS. And what a way to start this year. Last year, the Chevrolet Camaro GT4 was brand new coming here to the streets of St. Petersburg. Lawson Aschenbach put it on the pole, had to be content with a couple of podium finishes that weekend, but he went on to win the championship in convincing style, super consistency and speed for that Black Dog Speed Drop Chevrolet team. So it is he who wins again for the 2nd day in a row here today on the streets of St. Petersburg. Number 21 is Gabriella Piana in 2nd place for Porsche. And then running down the order behind him, James Safranis for Audi, Ian James for Paynos, Jade Buford in the Ford, Harry Gottsack in the Sin R1, Nate Stacey in the Ford, Drew Stavely in the Ginetta, Toby Grahovic in the BMW, and Shane Lewis rounds out the top 10 in the Mercedes. In the 11th position, Tony Gaples, who is the 3rd in the AM category in the Chevrolet. Behind Tony Gaples, Mike Headland in the Audi, then Gar Robinson in the Mercedes. Jason Bell from Tampa in number 2 Audi in 14th position. Ori Fidani from north of the border in Ontario, Canada, car number 13, the Porsche, finishes in 15th position. Behind him is Jeff Courtney in the Maserati. And then James Pezek in car number 40 in 17th position, another Ford. Then the second of the Paynos Avezzano GTs, Preston Calvert in 18th position, car number 51, followed by Justin Raphael and his BMW teammate in the 20th position is Chris Ormacht in car number 92. Also running at the finish was Fred Roberts in the Maserati car number 89, Frank Gannett in the Ginetta car number 24, and Adam Merzon in the number 23 Audi, finishing in 13th position. The non-finishers, unfortunately involved in that incident to bring out the red flag, Vinny Allegretta in the Ford, and Steve Burns in the Ginetta, car number 43. Also not reaching the finish line, Mark Clennin, Marko Radizic, and George Kurtz. But a tremendous way, I think, to start the season for the Pirelli World Challenge GTS. We will see the GT cars in action later on this afternoon. And that's going to be another tremendous battle there. Not an awful lot of cars in that field, but as we saw yesterday, some great racing. We can expect that more of that later on. That'll take place after the Verizon IndyCar Series race at 3:15, the green flag for the GT cars in the Pirelli World Challenge later on this afternoon. So thank you for joining us for the second round of the Pirelli World Challenge GTS category this morning. My name is Jeremy Shaw. Jeff Lepper is on his way down to Victory Lane. We'll be back again for more action later on this afternoon, and plenty more activities today in another tremendously exciting edition of the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg.
Takuma Sato, the fighter. Ability, the fist of chaos. A transplanted hand made of pure indestructonium makes him the master of control. He competes to the end, grabbing victory in one hand and any darn thing he wants in the other.
There's a reason drivers have trusted Firestone tires since the very first Indy 500. Drivers like Haroon, Shaw, Hoyt, Andretti, Rossi. Because while finishing is hard enough, it's winning that makes you a champion. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone.
What is it? It's the vibe of life well lived. And it's happening right now in St. Pete Clearwater. 35 miles of white sand bliss and world-class culture leads you to your best day ever. Plan your getaway at visitstpeteclearwater.com.
At Frontier Communications, we keep you connected to what matters most. Our 100% fiber optic network stands strong even during bad weather.
We're very fortunate that Frontier, all the magic that they did, I was running.
Fios is not Spectrum. We keep you connected. If you're done being disappointed with cable, switch to Fios. Reliability, it's in our fiber. Switch at fiosbyfrontier.com.
Hey, this is Rick Stroud, sports writer for the Tampa Bay Times. I'd like to invite you to listen to my new daily podcast, Sports Day Tampa Bay. We'll talk Rays, Lightning, Bucks, and Bulls. I'll have special guests join me regularly for their takes and answer questions from listeners. Join the conversation on Twitter at SportsDayTB and use the hashtag SportsDayTampaBay. Whether you're in the kitchen, on the road, or at the gym, it's Tampa Bay Sports Talk on your schedule. Download it now on iTunes or go to tampabay.com/sports.
Well, race fans, getting ready for Indy Lights race number 2, Patricio O'Ward, your winner in race number 1. Dominating fashion yesterday. Will Santiarrutia, the runner-up, have anything for Patricio today? We shall see as the second round of the 2018 Indy Lights campaign gets underway here in just a few minutes. Still some celebration to be done. Pirelli World Challenge. Jeff Lepper down on the victory podium stage. That is to the right of Gasoline Alley. If you're coming through Gasoline Alley, where they bring all the cars in on the main straightaway, you make a right. You'll see the stage there. We'll be doing pre-race festivities at 12 noon, and all the celebrations throughout the weekend will happen there as well. Race fans, St. Petersburg is a city of opportunity where sun shines on all who come to live, work, and play. We are an innovative, creative, and competitive community that honors its past while pursuing its future. On behalf of Mayor Rick Kreisman, welcome to St. Petersburg, the Sunshine City. Big thank you to the folks at Kawa Coffee, supplying the coffee this weekend, taking care of all of our many volunteers. And if you do see a volunteer this weekend, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them, and be sure to thank them for helping us out this weekend and making it such a very special weekend here on the streets of St. Petersburg. Fans since 2014, Modern Business Associates has proudly sponsored the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg 5K run. All proceeds from the race benefit the Police Athletic League, the PAL, in their efforts to prevent crime among our community's youth through recreation, education, and athletic programs. Visit mbahro.com/NBA4PAL for more information. Well, let's go down to Jeff Lepper and do a little celebrating. Jeff?
Well, race fans, we're set to start our podium celebration for round number 2 this weekend for the Pirelli World Challenge right here on the streets of St. Petersburg, Florida. And what a great race it was for our GTS competitors. We'll start off in our AM category, finishing in 3rd place in the Black Dog Speed Shop Team Chevy Camaro GT4. Put your hands together today for Tony Gaples. Finishing in 2nd place in the classic BMW CAO Strategic Partners Fast Track Racing BMW M4 GT4. Trying to hurry up and finishing an interview, but put your hands together, Toby Grahovic. And getting his 2nd win of the season, his 2nd win in Pirelli World Challenge competition in the G3 Racing Ian Lacing G Netta G55, Drew Stavely. Drew able to sweep the weekend in his Ginetta G55. 3 cars strong now with Ian Lacey Racing. Congratulations to him. Want to give a huge thank you to VP Racing Fuel, our official fuel for the Pirelli World Challenge. All 40 cars here this weekend running on VP Racing Fuel. All those trophies up high there, gentlemen. And one last chance this weekend to salute your champions as we bring in the champagne and let these drivers celebrate. Congratulations once again. Drew Stavely, 1st place today. Toby Grovick in 2nd. Tony Gaples in 3rd. Congratulations. How about that, fans, for our GTSA podium? It's going to make the plane ride home tonight very interesting. All right. Moving on to our GTS overall podium, finishing in 3rd place, switching categories, your 2017 Pirelli World Challenge GTA champ. Put your hands together in the Global Motorsports Group, Audi R8 LMS, James Safranis. Finishing in 2nd place in the H&R Springs Mueller Motorsports Porsche Cayman GT4 Club Sport MR today. 2 podiums in his debut in Pirelli World Challenge, Gabriele Piana. Not a bad debut here in Pirelli World Challenge competition for him and the team at Mueller Motorsports. So, well, getting the win, sweeping the weekend, your 2017 Pirelli World Challenge GTS champ, 5-time Pirelli World Challenge champion. No introduction necessary. Lawson Aschenbach. Well, Lawson, 2 in a row here. GM, St. Petersburg. You're from Florida, home race. Congratulations.
Thanks. It's such a pleasure coming here every year. You know, I've got fond memories of this place. My first pro win, and to get 2 here, I think I've got 5 or 6 wins in this place. So I think we should just have all the races here, maybe. but you know, in all honesty, you know, I'm from Florida, so this is technically my home race in the World Challenge season, and you know, all the fans that come out are awesome. This is such a good event. The city embodies this track so much. And we're really happy to be a part of it. So thank you again to Chevrolet, Black Dog, Speed Shop, and Pratt & Miller, Forge on Wheels, all our partners. I mean, GT4R was on rails today, and, you know, fortunately they were battling behind me, so I had a little bit of breathing room sometimes, but, you know, they kept me honest again. So really happy with the double win, and hopefully we can keep the momentum going to COTA.
Well, Lawson Aschenbach, double race win here this weekend. Put your hands together, fans. How about it for our GTS podium? Lawson Aschenbach, 1st place today. Gabriele Piana, 2nd place. And James Safranis in 3rd. We want to give a huge thank you once again to VP Racing Fuels, our official fuel, the Pirelli World Challenge. Also sponsor of our VP Fuel Hard Charger of the Race Award. The driver that picks up the most positions overall all race long goes to the number 74 Ranch Racing Machine of Gar Robinson. Gar also earning our Optima Battery Best Start of the Race Award, picking up the most positions on the very first lap and able to carry that over for our VP Fuel Racing Award. Congratulations on those special awards here. And we'll get one last chance here for our St. Petersburg fans to salute our champions in GTS, Lawson Aschenbach, Gabriella Piana, and James Safranis. Congratulations, gentlemen, GTS race winners here today. Well, thank you so much, fans, for sticking around. We'll get right off to Indy Lights race coming up. Don't forget to stick around later today for GT action race number 2. Back up to you, Michael.
Thank you, Jeff Lepper. Congratulations, Lawson Aschenbach. Heck of a driver. A great way to start the season for the 5-time champ. Hometown race for him. 2-time winner this race weekend. Race fans, please be sure to check out the Budweiser Party Pit. That's located here on the main straightaway. Budweiser Party Pit open to the public with views